It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Army Black Knights head sprint football coach, Coach Mark West. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Brandon, and I just want to start by wishing everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm normally wearing black and gold, but today I've got my green on for good luck.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to start coaching in sprint football?
Oh, man. Well, I guess it really started as a child for me. I knew I wanted to coach from an early age. I don't think I knew exactly what sport I wanted to coach. I played football, basketball, and baseball. My grandfather was a coach. My father was a coach. So I think I had coaching in my blood. When I graduated from West Point, way back in 1991, I had played sprint football as a cadet. I was a graduate assistant coach for 6 months before I went out into the real Army. So I kind of had an idea that I wanted to get into coaching someday. But it really, the opportunity didn't present itself, until about 2006, when I had come back here to work in the admissions office. And I got involved with the sprint football team, as a captain in the Army, and had a chance to help out as a volunteer coach. And I think that's really what drew me in to wanting to come back and do this. And I was lucky enough to be offered the job in 2007, and took over as head coach in 2008. So I pinch myself every day that, I have the opportunity to coach the team that I played for, to coach these great cadet athletes, and to coach at my alma mater.
How was it like, obviously, being a quarterback for 3 years at West Point?
Well, really, it was an honor and a privilege to quarterback the sprint football team. Back then, it was called 150-pound football, and the weight limit was 158 when I played. It's 178 now. But it was really an honor, like I said, an honor and privilege to be the team's quarterback, to be the leader on offense. I was actually team captain my senior year. And so for me, football was a huge part of my life here at the academy. And to play football was just a release, I guess you could say, from the everyday challenges that you went through, academically, militarily, all the things that you had to do as a cadet. And to being able to go to the football field every day, to play football, to play quarterback in a sport that I was very passionate about and I loved very much, was really just a dream come true for me.
What were some of your accomplishments during your time playing football?
Oh, man. Here at West Point, like I said, we have a tradition of excellence where we're really expected to win every game we play. I know for a lot of teams out there that might not be a realistic goal, but for our team it is. So accomplishments as a team, we won a couple of league championships. We beat Navy a couple of times and won the Star game, which is always a big deal. You get bragging rights for a year over your arch rival. And then individually, I was lucky enough to be named all-league quarterback for those 3 years I started, and I was actually league MVP, my senior year when we finished undefeated. So all great accomplishments. Very proud of being a part of those teams, and of course now very proud to be the head coach of the team for the past 13 seasons.
How is it like, obviously, transitioning from being a player to obviously coaching at your alma mater?
To be honest, I don't think the transition was too hard for me because I had served, 14 years in the Army before taking over. Granted, I had been out of football, but I think being a head coach, there's just so many leadership lessons that I learned in the Army that I was able to apply, as the head coach of the football team. So it was pretty seamless, I think, going from, really one profession to another in that regard. Obviously, I had to get back up to speed with all of the football stuff. And, I was able to surround myself with some great coaches, who helped me do that. And, of course, I rely heavily on them to make sure the players are being coached up every day, the X's and O's of the game. And so it really wasn't too tough of a transition. And, I took it head on, and, I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Can you talk about, of course, some of the differences between sprint football and tackle football?
Well, really, there's no difference. Sprint football is exactly the same as any other football as you know it. The only difference is the weight limit. We play by NCAA rules. It's 11 on 11, full contact. Most of the teams in our league, and we're in the Collegiate Sprint Football League, kind of give the league a plug there. But most of the teams in our league, if not all, play the spread offense where quarterbacks in the shotgun. It's most of them are no huddle offenses. Teams, kind of playing up tempo. They like to throw the ball a lot. So it's a real exciting league, fun to follow. It's, like I said, the key difference is the weight limit, and that's really the only difference. What's pretty neat about our league is that, you'll see defensive linemen, chasing down running backs. Where in normal college football, where there is no weight limit, you probably don't see that very often. So the speed of the game, I think, is what is kind of sets us apart from the other football that you watch.
What does it take to start up a sprint football league on the college/university level?
Well, it really, you got to find someone who's willing to take on the role as commissioner and to reach out to local universities and to find those who are interested in starting a team. I think one of the beauties of sprint football is that we were able to do it on a lesser budget, if you will, than what normal Division I or Division II, even Division III teams have. Their budgets are much bigger than ours, but that's one of the reasons why the league was created in the first place, was to give the smaller collegiate football players, smaller football players in high school, I should say, the opportunity to play football at the college level. Our league prohibits off-campus recruiting, for example, so we don't have enormous recruiting budgets. I can't fly all over the country to go meet with recruits and try to convince them to come to West Point. So we look at ways to try to limit our budget so that we can, still have the league, we can still have competitive football. We stress academics, obviously, and it's a league that's hung around since, the 1920s and 30s. So I think as long as we keep it low cost, it hopefully will continue to expand our league. And, and you were talking to me before we started the interview, they just started a league in the Midwest, some schools out of Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, they're starting a league there now. So hopefully, maybe the champion from our league will play the champion from their league and have a true national championship someday. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. And we hope other schools out there will want to join.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've built for the sprint football program?
Well, our culture really falls in line with the culture of West Point. Here at the United States Military Academy, we have, certain values that we uphold, that we live by. Of course, it all starts with the Academy's motto of duty, honor, country. First and foremost, every cadet at West Point is a cadet, and with, all emphasis on, academics and, of course, their military duties and good order and discipline. So being a coach here, developing a culture maybe a little easier than some other schools because we already have a lot of those values in place. For me, I tell my kids on the team, my cadet athletes that, hey, I want us, sprint football here at West Point to be the model athletic program for the United States Military Academy. I want everybody here on post or on this campus, when they see a sprint football player, I want them to say, hey, I want to be like that guy, or, I wish I was on the sprint football team, because they know how to win, and they know how to win the right way, through teamwork, selfless service to the team, discipline, all those attributes that it takes to be a champion. So that's really the culture I've tried to set throughout my tenure here. And it falls in line with the Academy's culture as well.
Who are some of the teams that you face in your conference?
Oh, well, we faced two Ivy League schools that were original members of the league. Like I said, way back when the league started, and that's University of Pennsylvania out of Philadelphia, and then we have Cornell University out of Ithaca, New York. Then, of course, there's Army and Navy. We're the two service academies that are in the league, and then we have 5 other Division II schools that joined recently. Some have been in the league a little longer than others. We've got Mansfield University out of Pennsylvania. We've got Chestnut Hill College just outside of Philadelphia. We also have, St. Thomas Aquinas University right here in New York. We have Caldwell University, which is out of northern New Jersey. And then we recently added Alderson Broaddus University out of West Virginia. So our league is in good shape. We've got 9 teams. We're looking to add more if we can. My understanding is Bridgeton, Connecticut is interested in joining the league, and they may be joining in another year. And so, we want to continue to grow the league and continue to make it as competitive as possible.
What's it like, obviously, coaching against those teams like Cornell versus obviously coaching against Navy?
Well, Navy is our big rival. So, anytime Army Navy steps on the field or the court or, whatever venue it may be, that's the game of all games, right? You're playing to beat your rival. But we've got a pretty deep history with Cornell since they've been in the league so long. That's always a good rival with them. Of course, Penn, like I said, they've been in the league for many years now, and so it's always good when the academies face up against the Ivy Leagues, because there is some rival there as well, since we've both been in the league for so long.
What does a typical game day look like in sprint football?
What does a typical day look like?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Well, for the cadets, they're starting their day pretty early. They're probably up by about 6 o'clock every morning. If you're a freshman or a plebe, you're probably up a little bit earlier. But they have to, get ready for the school day, get the rooms squared away. They gotta shave, get their uniforms looking good. And then they'll step off for classes. Classes begin around 7:30. And they'll have classes throughout the day. They're released for practice about 3 o'clock every day, or 1500, as we say in the Army. But they're released at 1500. We're typically starting our practice around 4 o'clock or 1600 every day. We're done usually by about 6 or 1800. They're back up the hill to the mess hall grabbing dinner, and then they're in their room studying by about 7:30, 8 o'clock every night. They have what they call evening study period, which is mandatory study time. Lights out at midnight, and they're waking up the next morning and starting all over again. I like to call it Groundhog Day, if you've ever seen that movie. Yeah, it's a pretty rigorous day. It's challenging, but that's why these young men and women chose to come to West Point. They wanted the challenge. They want to prepare to be officers in our Army and lead soldiers for our nation. So they know what they're signing up for when they come here. and it's tough, it's challenging, but they get it done.
What does the recruitment process look like for prospective student athletes looking to go into playing sprint football?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we don't have a recruiting budget, so so I'm not permitted to go off campus and recruit. However, thanks to today's technology, there are numerous social media outlets, primarily Huddle. Most folks out there have probably heard of that. That's the primary tool I use anyway to recruit athletes. So all those young men who are interested in coming to West Point to play sprint, eventually I am linked up with them via text or email. I'll get their Huddle highlights. I'll take a look. I watch a lot of Huddle highlights to determine if they have what it takes to play sprint football. And then I'll encourage them to open an application to West Point. That can be a very tedious process. So I help them through the application process. And then, if they choose to come to West Point, I'll have them, they'll report just like all the other cadets, new cadets, as we call them. They'll report for cadet basic training in July. I'll have a chance to see them a few times during the summer. And then when classes start, we start our preseason. So that's really the way it works for us. It's definitely not your typical recruiting process like it is for your normal, Division I colleges, but it's a process nonetheless, and it helps me bring in, some talented football players.
Of course, what are some of the things that you look at in these prospective student athletes while looking at them for sprint football?
Yeah, not only am I looking at them for football talent, but I've got to make sure that they can come here and succeed in all the other areas. We call it the three pillars. We have the academics. They've got to make good grades in high school. Typically an AB average, and they got to score well on their SATs or ACTs. So I'm looking closely at that. I'm looking closely at the courses they've taken in high school. Are they taking the challenging courses, the honors courses, the AP courses? Then I'm also going to look at their leadership potential. What are they doing in school? What type of extracurriculars are they involved in? Are they a club president or a school student body representative? Do they get involved in their community? So I want to make sure that they have some leadership qualities as well. And last but not least, we look obviously at their character. Are they just overall, good kids who have strong morals, strong values? Are they coming from a good family? Do they have that strong character that's going to help them develop as well when they get to West Point? So all those things really kind of go into what I look at. Physically certainly is one of them as well. Do they have the physical aptitude? Do they have the grit, the determination to be able to make it through 47 months here at West Point? So a lot goes into my selection criteria. Of course, being a really good football player is one of them, but I look at other things as well.
Of course, when these prospective candidates come on campus, what does the official visit look like for them?
Well, I don't really have official visits, meaning that, like I said, I don't have a recruiting budget, so I can't, fly a kid in from Texas, for an official visit. But I do have what's called unofficial visits, where kids that are interested in playing sprint football can come to campus, come to post, as we call it, on their own dime, and I can certainly show them around. I'll link them up with a cadet on the team. That cadet will take them around all day to classes. They'll get a chance to eat in the mess hall. They'll meet the other team members at one of our workouts. Of course, I'll show them around the facilities. And hopefully get a chance to meet their parents if they come along with them, and then of course they'll spend the night in the barracks and really get a sense for what it feels like to be a cadet, for a day. and they'll get to see West Point from the inside out. And that's really important because, if you're going to make a commitment to come to West Point, I think it's important that you know what you're getting yourself into, because I don't want there to be any surprises. I don't want a kid to show up on the first day and after a few days, they're leaving because they didn't know what they were getting themselves into. So those visits are very important. And, I'm really happy when they do choose to come for an unofficial visit before actually reporting for our day.
What are some of your future plans for the sprint program?
Well, we want to continue to win championships. That's always in the future plans. But yeah, so, we're always looking for ways to improve the program. We were fortunate enough a couple of years ago to, open up our new locker rooms and team room and weight room. That was really huge for the program because it's, those are all first-class facilities. And, it's something that we take great pride in, those new facilities, and we take really good care of those. Other things we're trying to do is obviously continuously improving our IT situation, whether it's buying new video equipment or, hiring IT personnel to help us with our film. We're always looking for ways to improve as a coaching staff. Are there certain things that we can do, to make sure we're, giving our players the best coaching possible. We're always looking to, upgrade our equipment or, looking at our uniforms, or, we're due to buy some new jerseys. We're upgrading our helmets, so all those things, the little things that all, I think all championship programs do, to try to just continuously maintain that margin of excellence. And I'm very fortunate that I've got a great alumni support group, alumni network, if you will, who's always there to support us, when we're in need.
What's it like as head coach seeing those cadets put on that uniform and obviously represent not just the program, but the Army?
Yeah, for me, I think it's extra special because I put on the same uniform, way back in the day, right? So it's just a sense of pride when I see those young men, step on the field. The fields of friendly strife, as we call it here at West Point. Wearing, Army across their chest. And on the back of our jerseys, we don't put last names because I'm not one that believes in that. Instead, on the back of our jerseys, we have a mix of some jerseys have duty on the back, some have honor on the back, some have country on the back, because that's the name we're playing for. Army across the front, and that motto across the back is what we stand for. So it gives me great pride to watch those young men step on the field each and every week and give it their all. And it's something I'm proud to be a part of.
What advice would you give high school football players looking to play in college?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What advice would you give the high school football players looking to play in college?
Yeah, one, don't give up on your dream. No matter how small you may be, or how slow you may not be the fastest or the biggest. But if you've got grit, if you've got determination, and you've got that passion to play the game, then chances are there's a school out there that's going to want you. I use my own football playing days, I guess, as an example. I knew I wanted to play college sports. I narrowed it down to football, and I was a small kid in high school. I was all of 5'9", about 165 pounds, and I felt like I could play at the collegiate level. I was lucky enough to get accepted to West Point and make the Division I roster. But then I quickly realized that, man, I'm the smallest guy out here on the field, and I was playing scout team quarterback and basically getting my brains beat in every day. And it hit me that maybe this isn't what I need to be doing. And luckily for me, West Point also had sprint football. And so I stepped away from the big boy team, as we call them here, the fat boys. And, and I went and played sprint football for 3 years. And it was really a saving grace for me because I loved the game so much. And, when I stepped away from the big boy team, I was pretty devastated because I wasn't sure if I was ever going to play again. But luckily Sprint was here, and I was able to make the team and play for 3 more years, and I loved it. So for all those young men and women, I know there's a lot of women out there starting to play football as well. Don't ever give up on your dream. I would tell you to hit the weight room. I've got 2 boys of my own, and even my daughters who play sports. It's important that you get on some kind of weightlifting routine because collegiate football is it's no joke. I mean, it's a very physical game, and if you really want to play at the collegiate level, you've got to be strong, and and so hitting the weight room is definitely a key part of that. So that's my advice. And the good news for a lot of those kids out there wanting to play is that we've got 2 sprint football leagues now, the Collegiate Sprint Football League here on the Northeast, and then, like you said, the Midwest League. And so hopefully the sprint football leagues will continue to pop up across the country and give more young men and possibly women the chance to play.
What advice would you give future college athletes that are looking to go between obviously playing the big boy football versus obviously going into sprint football?
Well, again, the difference is the weight limit. So those that are, going to play sprint football, you've got to make sure that you keep your weight down. I mean, like I said, I've got guys on my team who are weighing about 185 pounds during the off season, maybe pushing, 190 during the off season. So they know, they're going to have to cut that weight in order to play next season. Whereas if you're playing Division I or Division II or even Division III, you're doing the total opposite. I mean, you're trying to put on as much weight as you possibly can. So that's the key difference. And, so if you think you're going to be a lightweight guy who's going to play sprint football, then you've got to be smart about what you eat, about your nutrition, in terms of, eating stuff that's not going to put bad weight, on your frame, versus those who are trying to play Division I. You're wanting to eat to put on weight, so that's probably the key difference.
What advice would you give future college coaches looking to get into sprint football and even go coach at their alma mater like you did?
Yeah, getting into college coaching, it's not easy. You've got to be able to put your heart and soul into it, right? It's a very time-consuming profession, but if it's something that you're passionate about and you really want to do it, then I think it's probably the smartest thing to do is to reach out to those schools you might be interested in. You can certainly go to the various websites out there to see what coaching jobs are available. You'd need to put together a good resume, and send that to those coaches who are hiring, and see if you can land a job. I know most people get started by being grad assistants. Coaches, they kind of have to pay their dues, but and it's probably a younger man's game in terms of getting started out of the chute. I was very lucky. I didn't really start coaching until, gosh, I was 40 years old almost. So I got very lucky in that regard. But yeah, again, kind of same thing I would tell the young cadet athletes out there in high school student athletes. I would tell the young coaches the same thing. Don't give up on your dream. If it's something you truly want to pursue, then then go for it.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the sprint football program at?
Yeah, so we have several social media. Army West Point Sprint Football, on whether it's Twitter, whether it's Insta, whether it's Facebook. We have a Facebook page. that has quite a few followers. But yeah, it's Army West Point. That's what we go by now. We used to be just Army, and then we used to be just West Point, and we finally several years ago decided combined that to so now we're Army West Point sprint football, and we'd love to have followers.
Thank you again, Coach Mark West, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Army West Point sprint football program.
All right, Brandon. Well, thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Mark West, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thanks, Brandon.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.